Update. I don't like the relationship between my husband and his work wife, and neither does her partner. Original post. I'm a beautician, female 35, married to an engineer, male 34. He's very intelligent and I'm always proud of him. He has a colleague who is also very intelligent, female 31, obviously that he is close to. Before the events that led me to this moment of seeking help online, I never had any reason to be uncomfortable about his relationship with her. I always felt secure in our relationship. We're both independent people who would just leave if we weren't happy together. We've been together for 5 years, married for 1.5. My husband and I were on a 3-day trip with my husband's colleagues, a tradition at his work every autumn. We came home yesterday morning and I had a bad taste in my mouth after this trip. It felt like me and a colleague's partner, male 35, were the third and fourth wheel to my husband and his colleague during the entire trip. During dinner the second night, I was sitting silently playing with my food after almost 2 days of being ignored. The partner was also silent at first, but we started talking a bit, asking each other generic questions. The colleague, who was in a very loud argument with my husband, more of a back and forth teasing, suddenly turned around and asked what we two, her partner and me, were up to talking quietly. Her partner said that we were just getting to know each other since they, husband and colleague, were too busy talking about things we knew nothing about. The colleague laughed and said, "What could we discuss with you? Makeup and Kim Kardashian?" And she nodded towards me. "We have more intelligent things to discuss." I was dumbfounded. I guess because I'm a beautician, I can only discuss Kim Kardashian? I mean, any outsider to any profession would be dumb listening into two people discussing work-related subjects. They could have been as ignorant if I was talking to my coworkers about our job. My husband just laughed and the partner said, "That's rude." I said nothing because I had a taste for the whole situation. Then on the last day of the trip, I spent most of my time with the partner. I ignored the other two. Yesterday evening, the partner DM'd me and wanted to talk about our significant others. He said that he has been feeling uncomfortable about his girlfriend's relationship with my husband, and that he went through her messages. He sent me screenshots where my husband and his colleague are basically calling me stupid and shallow, and laugh about it. Well, mostly the colleague saying mean things and my husband laughing and adding in. Sometimes he would say something like, "No, I love her," about me, and she would answer, "You only like banging hot dumb chicks," and they laugh. But the texts aren't about my stupidity, they're about work, and in one of them, my husband wrote, "I love your brain," to her. I started crying when I saw the screenshots. Never have I ever felt so self-conscious about my brain or profession. I love my job, and I thought my husband loved it too, or at least didn't have this disdain for it. I've been my own boss for over 10 years and I make close to 6 figures. I never thought myself as a dumb person. I like to think that I'm fairly well informed, and I have passion for history, languages, cultures, etc. But yes, I'm not an engineer working on some design for artificial hearts. Still, the texts complimenting the colleague hurts me more than the ones making fun of me. I don't know why. I think my husband and his colleague are out of line at best, and well, probably screwing. I still don't know what to do. The last thing I want to be is the insecure wife. If he isn't happy with me, why is he here? Now for the top advice before reading the update. I think his work wife is very jealous of you. She's constantly putting you down to him to make herself look and feel better. She sounds very insecure. She was very quick to notice that her husband was talking to you, so she belittled you to her husband. It's sad that her husband defended you, while yours did not. Your husband allowing this and not chiming in is disrespectful and disgusting. Also, can we just get rid of this whole work wife/work husband BS? Yes, so freaking disrespectful to both partners. I went to a colleague's party and met his live-in girlfriend. She got very drunk and told me he had a work wife. And worse, she was here at a party. I couldn't believe he'd told his girlfriend that and then invited her to their house. I lost a lot of respect for that colleague and started to avoid him from then on. It's just a cruel way of saying you're flirting. Daily. First off, let me tell you right now that anyone who calls you names and belittles you to anyone is not worth your time. I have no knowledge whatsoever in fashion. I'm extremely unfashionable. And those that know about color coordination and creating something out of nothing is absolutely amazing to me. A genius in a way that I will never be. Even if he doesn't truly believe the words that he is saying, He's allowing someone to talk badly about you and even encouraging it. This husband of yours should definitely become ex-husband. As for your question of why he won't just leave, sometimes people want to have their cake and eat it too. It's a common expression for people who are greedy and like to overindulge. He likes to have your attention. He wants someone to come home at the end of the day that'll give him attention and validate his feelings and show him love. At the same time, he decided your attention wasn't enough because of his greed, and he found someone at his workplace to give him that. You are someone who deserves so much better, and I'm sorry that you're experiencing this. Know that no one this selfish is worth your time. Good luck. I'm always baffled when people talk crap about beauticians and hairstylists. Hairstyling is literally living sculpture. You have to know how the hair will hang in a variety of situations and style it to handle that. No way could I do it. I always tip my stylist at least 50% for that valuable and complicated skill. Same for beautician. Makeup is an art form and requires excellent color matching and mixing skills. No way I could do it. OP, you have an incredibly valuable and difficult skill set. I'd bet the female colleague is simply jealous. You make hella good money. I'd bet you always look stylish and put together. You clearly speak at least 2 languages fluently. Your native language and English. You're a quadruple threat to her insecurities. Part of me is hesitant to say divorce, but there are 2 things that a marriage cannot survive: disrespect and infidelity. Your husband disrespects you for certain, and I think he's having an emotional affair if not a physical one. A marriage can't survive that. This idiot has a total package with his ring on her finger. I'm guessing you took his name, and you promised him the rest of your life. He is the epitome of a fool. Unfortunately, fools only learn the hard way. I'm really sorry you're going through this. Now for the first update. Sorry I didn't come back earlier to make an update. I was mentally exhausted. And of course, busy discussing Kim K. Anyway, I want to apologize for not answering your messages because I got over 200 asking for updates. I really hope you can find this. I have talked to my husband. I just told him that I have talked to work wife's boyfriend and showed him the messages I was sent. My husband asked me why her boyfriend was spying on his girlfriend, and I told him that it was because he didn't like the way things went down on the trip. I told him how I too was very uncomfortable. He was very confused and told me that work wife obviously was jealous and that I shouldn't care about her. I told him that she didn't bother me as much as the fact that he was fine. No, amused by her attempts to bring me down the entire time. So much, in fact, that her boyfriend was so uncomfortable that he went through her phone. I also asked him why he was letting her trash talk to me in their texts. Again, he insisted that he just felt that she was petty and jealous and didn't want to stoop to her level. He said that I did the same when I ignored her rudeness, and he thought that was the classy thing to do. I asked him why she was doing this. Was there anything between them? And to please tell me now before it got more complicated. He said of course not, that if there was something from her end then, that wasn't his problem, because he loved me and so on and so forth. I asked him about him loving her brain, and he said it was strictly about something work-related and offered to show me the conversation. Next day, I was still brooding, so he came to me, kissed me and apologized and told me that I was right, and that he was being stupid, but that he never thought about it as disrespect but some female jealousy that he thought was pitiful and beneath him. I promised to do better. I told him that if somebody was trashing you like this in front of me, no matter how petty their reasons were or how pathetic I thought they were, I would have hated them and never want them in my life. Unfortunately, I started crying then, and he told me that he was so sorry. That was on Sunday. Then yesterday, the boyfriend called me again and we talked. We had decided to talk after confronting our significant others. Their conversation was worse, and work wife admitted to her boyfriend that she had feelings for my husband, and she suspected that my husband had feelings for her too. They have kissed at the summer work party. I showed my husband a screenshot when he got home, and he started to freak out, telling me that yes, she did kiss him, and he rebuffed her and told her that he wasn't interested. That was when she got nastier towards me. So you knew she had a thing for you? And he said yes. I asked him to show me his phone and he had deleted his conversation with her. He said it was because he was embarrassed. He didn't tell me when the kiss happened, and now he was afraid I would think it was more than what it was. I asked him to move out, and he's currently at his mother's. He keeps saying that there's nothing between them, that he loves me and would never cheat on me, that he will make her come clean to me, that he will quit his job and never see her again. I'm just so brokenhearted right now, and all I want to do is cry. Thank you for listening. I needed this. Edit, maybe I should have mentioned that he also told me he could prove that it was she who came onto him, because it happened in the office cafeteria, and there are surveillance cameras, and that he could request a clip from that day. I don't know why I didn't include it. Maybe because who kissed who doesn't really change how I feel about this whole ordeal. Why did he have to wait? If he had told you when it happened, the situation would have been so much better. But the fact that he didn't tell you, and then he watched her speak to you in a derogatory way, and didn't defend you, which is not stooping to her level by the way, that makes this worse. Because what part of this is the truth? It's hard to see that. And she might be correct in that he has feelings for her and just didn't want to act on it, but I just don't know at this point. But this could all been avoided if he communicated what happened when it happened, and not finding out through the boyfriend. Because if you think about this way, if she had never said anything to boyfriend, you would have never known because your husband didn't say anything. Yeah, the whole I didn't tell you because I thought it would make you think it was more than it was? No. Hiding the truth makes it look like more is going on, and I'm sure that there is. Even if we all were to believe that he rebuffed her, why then would you even want to continue to be friends with someone who has clear feelings and is verbally attacking your wife in private and to her face? He didn't tell her because OP probably would have set some hard boundaries around their relationship going forward. He wanted to keep his little work side piece. OP, I'm sorry this happened. You deserve a man who is loyal and supportive of you even when you're not there. I asked him to show me his phone and he had deleted his conversation with her. I'm sorry, but he is lying. If he had told her to back off, he wouldn't have felt the need to delete his conversation with her. Look up Trickle Truth. If they've had the opportunity to be alone, then they've mostly certainly gone further. Let's say he is telling the truth. It is unlikely that he is. It's still on him. Her advances weren't unwanted. He gave her the green light when he exchanged text with her mocking you. Infidelity doesn't begin with physical interaction. I have more respect for her right now for coming clean to her boyfriend. My husband hasn't admitted to anything I didn't know already. Somebody else is telling me. Honestly, this is a good comment. I don't believe him. Anytime anyone's come on to my boyfriend, he's shut it down. Anytime anyone's insulted me to him, he's shut it down. In both instances, he stopped interacting with those people. I really think that that's what he should have done. But also, he literally went on a trip with a woman who had kissed him and admitted feelings to him on your anniversary. Now for the last update. Hi, I don't feel comfortable making a new update on a true sub because honestly, I'm embarrassed that I'm taking so much of your attention. Writing, however, has helped me a lot, like it's therapy. My husband showed up at my work today. He said that he has never felt so scared in his life, like when he realized that he was losing me. He has contacted a boyfriend, apologized to him, and asked him to forward all the texts between him and work wife. He printed them and gave me everything. Over a year's worth of texting. He told me when work wife confessed to her boyfriend, she sent a text about admitting the kiss to her boyfriend. The text I got a screenshot of. My husband panicked and deleted the whole conversation. But now he got everything from the boyfriend and I could read it. He also had brought a picture with him. Of him when he was young, 12 to 13-ish with a girl. He said he searched this picture now that he's living with his mom. He told me that it was his favorite cousin and that she ended herself when they were 16. She was bullied severely. I never heard my husband talk about this cousin. I know of her mom from his family, but never that they were close or that her death devastated him. He said that he still wasn't ready to discuss her, but that now he needed to. He admitted that when work wife started working for them August 2021, he immediately bonded with her because she reminded him of his cousin. Both goofy, funny, and extremely intelligent. They even looked alike a little. Kind of true. The bond got stronger when work wife told him about her tough childhood and how she was bullied throughout school, how she suffered and contemplated ending it all. My husband said that he felt like he got his cousin back. Work wife knew that my husband was married, newlywed actually, and it didn't seem to be a problem for her in the beginning. He admitted that he sensed that she was falling for him very soon, but that he never really confronted her about it because he didn't want to hurt her feelings. When she saw me in the picture, she got very angry with him and said that she was very disappointed in him because I looked the type that would bully people like her and my husband in high school. She was disappointed and asked him what he saw in me. He told her that he loved me, but she was sour afterwards, accusing him of being shallow. He asked her to give me a chance at a Christmas party. She didn't change her opinion, however. He wasn't bothered that she disliked me because he thought that she was just jealous. He knew that she was decided on not giving me a chance, and that was fine with him. He thought that this will be one of the things they will have to disagree on. He is still adamant that he never kissed her back, and he's adamant about getting the recording of that party. He said he pushed her, and after the party, he had a fight with her about boundaries and confronted her about her feelings. He told her that they could no longer be friends now that she had crossed the line. We went on a 5-week vacation the day after that party, and he said that if I read a text from that time, I would find that she had apologized several times asking for forgiveness, begging him not to ditch her as a friend. After summer, their relationship was strained, but they eventually became closer again. He said he doesn't know why he felt like she needed him in her life, like he needed his protection. He always thought about being put in harm's way, and he couldn't stand the thought. He swore it was never romantic or sexual. He admitted that he loves her like a friend or like if his cousin was still around. Then he told me that he has handed his resignation and will be seeking new jobs. He's realized that he has to let work wife go. He admitted that he even now is worried about her. She's losing both her boyfriend and him, but that he needs to remind himself that she is a grown-up woman and not a 16-year-old cousin. She'll be fine. And about my fears that he loves me for how I look, he said that he is sorry if he ever made me feel that way, and that it is far from the truth. When he thinks about us, he sees us growing old together, and that prospect fills his heart with more love and joy. Another round of, there would never have been a problem if you had been transparent with your partner when the first line was crossed. That's it, isn't it? She confronted him, told him to tell her absolutely everything, and he still lied by omission. Absolute dumbass. This makes me so angry. That was a massive screw-up. Huge. My significant other is also an engineer, and he's a superstar with circuit boards or coding a piece of software, and reads physics textbooks for fun. But with people, not so much, which is why we have an agreement where he runs things by me when he's not sure of someone's behavior/motives. It's kept our relationship healthy, our boundaries clear, and enforced and saved him from being inadvertently caught in some splatter when I, correctly, said someone's behavior was making my spidey senses tingle. I can't help but wonder if OP's husband let this nonsense fly for so long because he enjoyed the attention too much to stop it. My significant other might not be great at picking up social cues, but he'd never let someone trash talk me, and would be out the room and on his way home to talk to me if someone tried to kiss him. You'd only hide something like that if you knew it would reveal that you'd hidden a dozen smaller screw-ups leading up to it. She reminds me of my dead cousin is certainly the most original excuse for infidelity I've heard. Update. How do I, 24 male, get my dad, 52 male, to realize his wife, 38, is not my mom, and to quit pressing a relationship? Original post. My mom passed when I was 14. I was always closer with her than my dad, so I took it very hard and still missed her every day. My dad moved on extremely quickly. I'm talking about 1.5 months later and he was already openly dating his current wife. I even suspect he was cheating on my mom. She moved in 4 months after my mom's death. The 9 months after her death, they announced their engagement on my birthday as one of my gifts. I obviously didn't take it well, made a scene and dumped the cake they got me and walked out. I disappeared for a few days until they were about to put on a missing persons/runaway report, and I was forced to go back. They tried to get rid of all evidence of my mom, pictures, personal effects, memories, and others. I kept what I could and hid some others. They wouldn't let me celebrate her birthday or anything to do with my mom. Then they tried to force me to call her mom, but I never did. But they would ignore me when I call her by her name. She would introduce herself as my mom. I would correct her every time. It got to the point that I stopped talking to her unless absolutely necessary, or if I was correcting her. These talks were usually one-word answers. My dad got angry every time I didn't call her mom, use her first name, or introduce her as dad's wife. I once spent 2 weeks not talking to either of them when I was 16 because I was ruining her family dynamic. Said that until I can be a part of the family, there was nothing to say or do as one. Though they caved at about the 15th day of no communication/interaction. I turned 18 and left for uni and went extremely low contact and didn't go back. When I was 21, I got engaged to my fiancé. She knows about my relationship with my dad and his wife, and she respects it and is on my side. When they found out, my dad and his wife had a fit. They didn't know I was seeing anyone. Then my dad's wife posted on social media saying she was excited that her son, me, was getting married, along with a bunch of other things, like saying she can't wait until she becomes a grandma. I made a short post saying I am not and never was her son, and she won't be a grandma to any future kids. My dad got mad, saying I was disrespecting my mother and embarrassed her. I asked who we were talking about, because my only mother was the one who gave me life. And at this point, I lost both of my parents on the day when I was 14. That was 3 years ago, and we went back to low/no contact. But now my wife is about 8 months pregnant. They showed up to my house, though I never gave them my address. They wanted to talk and meet my wife. I didn't let them in, and said to turn around and go back to where they came from. But apparently, they decided they wanted to move to my city/state to be closer, and repair the relationship between us. She said she missed her son and wanted to be a better mom and grandma. I called them delusional and told them to leave and slam the door. They ended up buying a house about 5 minutes away from us. This has all been way too much for me, and my therapist wants me to let them in. But I would rather cut all contact. It wouldn't be so bad if they just would stop trying to replace my mom and act like she never existed. I honestly don't know much about my dad's wife. I don't even know if I know who my dad is anymore. My wife is struggling to support me emotionally and doesn't know how to help. Please, internet strangers, how do I convince them that she is not and will never be my mom? Edited to Ed. About my therapist. He said I should try to express my true feelings towards them in a non-hostile and threatening manner. Do it in a way that is constructive but gets to the point. Learn more about my dad and his wife, and get to the root of who they are and how they feel about the situation. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I didn't let them in, and said to turn around and go back to where they came from. You have the right to set and enforce this boundary if this is what you want. My therapist wants me to let them in. Why does your therapist want you to do this? Yes, your therapist is so freaking out of line. Please get a new therapist that's actually experienced in dealing with narcissistic parents. I'm concerned that your current therapist might try to contact your parents for an impromptu family therapy session that they conveniently blindside you with because you need to let them in. Nope. Also, if moving is an option, consider it. At the very least, see if you can get a no-contact order or something like that, and get cameras installed on your property. Given the level of delusion, I wouldn't be surprised if your mom ramps things up once the baby is born and resorts to attempting to take your baby for snuggle time at grandma's. There's a story from Just No Mother-in-Law where some lunatics told her grandbaby in the middle of the night like she had permission and like it was actually cute and not heart attack inducing for a daughter-in-law. Your therapist is completely disregarding the issue here, attempts to replace your birth mother and bullying you emotionally to achieve this. Definitely get another therapist. Contact a lawyer. You can prove no contact and unwanted behavior, like turning up unannounced and buying property near you. This is stalking, and you can get a restraining order. Yes, Opie needs a new therapist. Why is he disregarding everything you've been through, Opie? I would not trust these people around my kids, Opie. They sound delusional. I'm so sorry you had to go through all of this. Please take care of yourself and your pregnant wife. I'm 9 months pregnant. I don't talk to my dad at all, and my husband loathes him. He was a horrible husband to my mom and didn't even come to her funeral. If he suddenly showed up at my door with his wife, I would have honestly probably gone into premature birth with all that stress. Crappy parents suck. I loved my mom too. And your family now is your priority. Do what you need to protect them. You do not owe these people anything. Nothing at all. Went through something similar. Mom passed away when I was 13. Dad started dating one of her friends within a month and ended up marrying my mom's old boss. My grandfather said he didn't even wait for her body to get cold. That's how fast he moved on. I'm 40 now and haven't seen or spoken to my father since I was 26 or so. Best decision I made. In the end, you set who you want to be in contact with and who you don't. Stand firm and don't give in. I would also find another therapist who understands your situation. Your father and his wife's actions sound insane. Just to move to be closer without reconnecting slowly and properly is a red flag to me. Be careful, but I would keep my distance and possibly even look into a restraining order if they keep coming around. Now for the update. Hello all. Thanks for your comments and feedback. I did read them all. I couldn't reply for some reason. Also, for those who said I must be fake because of a lack of replies/updates, the post got so much attention that it was locked in 24 hours. I do have a life with work and an 8-month pregnant queen that I have the privilege of calling my wife that took priority. To answer some questions and to clarify, my wife, me and our unborn child are doing good overall. My wife is over being pregnant at this point, but our child should be here in the coming weeks. I did find a new therapist. I called to cancel the rest of my appointments on the books, and he did not take that well. So I have to put in a complaint. I met with my new one, and I like her a lot better. I feel like I'm actually being heard and actually getting the help I needed. I want to make this clear. I am 24. My dad's wife is 38, so 14 years older than me. My dad is 52, also 14 years older than his wife. So when she entered my life, I was 14 and she was 28. There were also theories about how my dad might have something to do with my mom's death. Though it's not the case, I still believe they were together before she passed. I am investing in a security system, but it will be a few weeks until they can install it. But for now, we have a doorbell cam and some cheaper cameras. As for social media, since the post about her being excited about being a grandma and how my wife and I getting engaged, we have locked down all social media. My wife and I are not active on any platforms anymore, except for messaging or sharing pictures. We found a leak as well. It is my brother-in-law, my wife's sister's husband. We had a family dinner where we had planned on working on a birthing plan, and brother-in-law was insistent on being there, which was odd as he was not part of it to begin with. While we were waiting for my mother-in-law to get home, I shared what happened between my dad and how it made me/my wife feel. Brother-in-law got visibly uncomfortable. When we called him out on it, he denied it, but it was obvious. Sister-in-law called him out too, and he broke down. He said he had been talking with them because we need all the family support we can get, and they should know their grandbaby. This caused an argument, which ended with sister-in-law moving out and staying with us. They have no kids and had some issues, and I think it is over for them. I will never trust him. Our birthing plan has been locked down and secure, made a day later without brother-in-law, but we have some just-in-case of crazy showing up plans. Everyone who needs to know the plan/details, no. Now, it is surprisingly hard to get a protection order. Where we live, it is heavily dependent on violence or physical contact. Technically, what they have done is not against the law yet. They are perceived as no real danger at this time since there were no threats made, and they left when asked to. They have free will to move wherever they want. Also, since a family member gave another family member my address, it is fair game. In regards to grandparents' rights, it is only when my wife and I have lost custody or are unable to care for them, but my mother-in-law and father-in-law will be taking on that role if needed. My wife and I are not in a position to move. We just bought our house when interest rates were low, and my in-laws helped with the down payment. It is nothing massive, but it is home and perfect for our starting family. My dad and his wife are unable/shouldn't have kids. I don't know what side made it impossible, so that may be why the constant pressure. I did write my dad a letter summing up why I want no contact, how I feel about what they did, how his wife is not my mom and will never be, that if I feel like giving them a chance, it is on my/my family's terms. Specified that my family is me, my wife, and any possible children moving forward. They are not to talk to my wife or I at any time, unless it is through our lawyer. He can then decide what information to pass on. They are not welcome around us at any point, including our house, school, daycare, social gatherings, birthdays, Christmas, barbecues, etc. As well as in public, we are strangers. Keep space and act like we don't exist. If they break this, they will get a follow-up letter, up to and including a protection order. The letter was quite long. Our lawyer looked over it, and my wife and I signed it. Then he signed it as well as it being notarized, and then we made legal copies for all of our records. My lawyer went with a private delivery service and hand-delivered it to him with a signature of received goods, plus video evidence as well. So far, so good at that end. I'm now focused on my wife and soon-to-be child. I hope I'm ready. I know how not to be a father, so there is that. Thanks all for your input. Is there anything else I should do or think of to protect my family? Reddit is a great place to think of all wacko possibilities, and it sounds like you did a great job covering your bases. Now you enjoy your growing family and give your wife flowers and foot rub just because. Be prepared for the sleepless nights and the overwhelming feeling of being miserably tired and yet completely happy at the same time. Last story. I'm watching my dad be a better father to his stepdaughters. My mom and dad never had a healthy marriage, and my dad was super absent. He worked a lot and would come home angry more often than not. He took that out on us. He did a lot of terrible things to my sister, my mom, and me, but it wasn't always bad, and I guess that's the hard part. They eventually got a divorce. A year later, he married a woman he barely knew without even telling my sister and I, while her daughters were invited. This made me decide to go no contact because I felt disrespected, and my sister did as well. He and my sister have rekindled their relationship, but keep each other at arm's length. I held a grudge until my boyfriend proposed, and I decided to be the bigger person and invite him to my wedding. I unblocked him on Facebook, only to see his cover photo is of him and his stepdaughters, both around my and my sister's age, with a caption about how they meant the world to him. He'd never posted anything about me or my sister like that. I scrolled through his page, and I wish I didn't. I just hurt myself more. He took them to Hawaii. He never bothered going on vacation with us because he always wanted to take his vacation to go hunting alone. He got them dogs while he took my dog to the pound when I was at school one day because it barked too much. He gave one of them a family heirloom that we got screamed at over if we even came near it. It just hurts because I got a lot of good things from him, like my sense of humor, my love for cheesy action movies, and talkative nature. But I also got a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, and a lot of neglect. It would be easier if all the memories were bad, because that would make it easier than seeing him play Dad of the Year with two girls who aren't even his. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Screw him. You're better than him. He has to raise someone else's children and you're getting married. Who actually cares about him anymore? Live your life. He clearly failed his. So why bother? Yes, screw him. I'm really glad I found the best guy ever. I'm looking forward to having children of my own that both have parents that love them very much. Thank you. My husband and I both have crappy parents. He hasn't spoken to his mother in 25 years, for example. I'm 41 and he's 48, and we have a daughter about to turn 8 years old who we adore. We learned so much about how not to parent from our crappy parents. Honestly, my husband, despite growing up with an awful alcoholic mother and absent incompetent father, is the most amazing dad. Literally, from the minute our daughter was born, he was taking care of her, while I was separate from her in ICU. He did everything for her that first month while I recovered, and ever since has been at least an equal parent if not doing more with our daughter. And I have a completely different relationship with her than the one I had with my mom, who was cold, distant, and approachable and judgmental. My daughter and I are super close. I hug her every day and tell her that I love her. We talk about anything and everything, and she knows she can come to me for anything and I'll help her. All that crappy parenting stopped at our parents' generation, and we have actively broken that cycle and consciously avoid being anything like that. You too have learned a huge amount of how not to parent from your experience, and will hopefully have a fulfilling and loving relationship with your child/children in the future. It's awful what your dad has done. My cousin's father did exactly the same to them, and I remember how much it hurt them too. But it's shown you the type of parent you don't want to be, and how you've felt in all these experiences will have a huge influence on how you parent, as you'll understand how you felt when you were forgotten about and made to feel unimportant and replaceable. Your dad sucks. He must know that the way he's behaved would make you feel awful, and he's so selfish and self-centered that he doesn't care and still does it. You owe him nothing. He hasn't been a good father and doesn't seem to care about that. He's not remorseful nor trying to repair things, so why should you care for him and his feelings? I'm sorry that he can't be the father you want and deserve. If it doesn't bring anything positive to your life, it only causes angst and stress, it is perfectly okay and understandable to cut him out of your life. You don't have to allow him access to keep hurting you. Best of luck with your wedding and creating your own beautiful family. I'm so sorry to hear that. Hope you're living a good life right now. I actually am. My life is great outside of being upset about this. Thank you for being so sweet though. Now for the update. Wow guys, I'm overwhelmed by your support. It means a whole lot to me. I've teared up reading your replies. and I wish I had the time to reply to each and every one of you. You're all such kind souls. I'm so sorry we, meaning myself and all the people who commented with a similar story, have to live with this. But we will overcome it and be better without them. For the record, he is definitely uninvited to my wedding. I actually hadn't sent him an invite yet, so I just saved myself from having to rescind it. I've blocked him again, and I'm back to pretending I just have one parent. Either my mom or my sister will walk me down the aisle. Update. I told my ex-wife that being a part-time dad has been the best year of my life. Original post. I, male 36, met my ex-wife, female 33, when I was 25. We fell in love, and the children came sooner than we planned, but it just happened and I loved the heck out of my children. Female 9, male 7.5, and female 5. First few years of our relationship was great, but then it wasn't. Looking back, it wasn't anyone's fault. We just became very different people. After we had our youngest child, our life became non-existent. I felt like for my wife, the purpose of sleeping with me was done. Now we have 3 beautiful children. After 3 years, we started having sex again in a form of mercy hand works in bed. It wasn't enough for me, but she told me that she's tired and busy with 3 small children. I was tired too, but I was more than prepared to make effort to make plans and time for romance. Not only the physical act that suffered, but even intimacy and romance. I had vasectomy, so ex-wife didn't need to take unnecessary hormones because we were done having children. When it started affecting our children, seeing us very irritated and cold towards each other, I thought I should man up and pull the plug. We haven't been happy or intimate since before our second was born, and we haven't been really intimate since we conceived our youngest. We should have ended it way earlier, but the guilt of breaking the children's home was heavy, until I noticed that our home was already broken, and my children aren't stupid not to see the sellotape we're trying to hold it together with. So I asked for divorce. Everyone told me I was mad and to think about the children. And it was very hard in the beginning, yes. I left the house for my ex, rented a 2-bedroom nearby, and we started doing 1 week each. I was positively surprised at how much happier the children became, seeing me happy and not easily irritated and brooding. I started seeing my girlfriend, female 40, about a year ago, and what was thought to be a casual one-time thing turned out to be the love of my life. She is amazing in every aspect. Kind, loving, successful, funny, and so freaking beautiful. She's child-free, and she was happy that I was done having children. In my child-free weeks, I can just be with her, just being me. Late breakfasts in bed, morning fun, wherever I wanted home. I know it makes me sound like a selfish douche, but on my weeks, I give 100% because I'm content and happy with life. She has met my children too, and they adore her. Why this lengthy background? I'll tell you. My ex, and my ex-mother-in-law and my own mother behind her, has been hinting that maybe we should go back together now. The children are older, we are less tired, and we are much happier now, so we aren't going to fight all the time like we used to. Ex wants a real relationship too, and she will give me as much sex as I wanted. Wow, is that really what she thinks I want? More mercy for my sake? To think of the children. Ex is tired of being a single mom, while I'm playing a bachelor every other week. Give them their old safe home back, no need for hopping from place to place. While the guilt was nagging at me, I rejected her advances and ignored her and the guilt because I'm happy for the first time in years, maybe ever. Until Friday when my girlfriend came home crying. She asked me maybe we should break up and that she doesn't want to be in the way of my and my children's happiness. She asked me if I was still in love with my ex. It broke my heart to see her broken. Like I didn't do a good job showing her what she meant to me and how much I loved her. Turned out, ex-wife has contacted her, telling her that she was the reason we aren't back together and the children are suffering. That we love each other, and she is my fun for now. I called my ex livid, and she called me selfish. I then told her that being a part-time dad was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I'm a human, not only a father. My ex-wife started crying. I apologized for hurting her, but she hung up. Now I'm being bombed by my mom and the rest, that I'm a selfish man and a terrible father. My mom even sent me a video with my children, where she asked them how they would feel if mommy and daddy moved back together. And they were so happy, saying yes and jumping. I can't forget my daughter's face lighting up with happiness at a prospect. This video was sent to my girlfriend as well, and now she's distant and broken. I hear her cry whenever she thinks I don't hear her. Am I being wrong here? Am I being a terrible parent? What my family doesn't understand is that my children's happiness now is the result of me leaving our toxic, depressing existence. But how can you explain that to small children? Now for the top comments before reading the update. I would save that video and contact your lawyer about parental alienation. I would also limit contact with your mother. Sit down with your kids and explain manipulation in an age-appropriate way. Not the a-hole. Don't let your mother see your children. Take that video to your lawyer. What they are doing is parental alienation. OP's mother has done more to traumatize the kids than OP ever did. Absolutely disgusting behavior. OP, any child of divorce will say yes when asked that question. I know I did. But did I really want to live like that again, walking in eggshells because of the atmosphere in our home when my parents were together? Hell no. I hated it. It was horrible. Your kids like seeing you happy, and some a-hole in the family's lying to them that you would still be this happy if you go back with a mother. Your kids know it won't be like that, but are probably too scared to say no. They are happy you are happy. You tried your best. Do not go back. It won't change. And how did I know? As soon as you said your girlfriend was upset that she had been contacted by your ex. This is a nasty move on her part. This is disgusting what they're doing to your kids. Tell her to knock it off, or you will contact the lawyer. She's filling the kid's head with crap. Good luck to you. Just keep being a good dad when you have them and have a good time when you don't. You have balance and you do not give that up. Yes, it broke your heart to see your daughter's face, but that video was sent for that reason. Blackmail. She is sick. You get one life. And if you're happy, kids are happy, then that, my friend, is a win. Good luck. Tell your girlfriend you're sorry they got to her, but you are not going anywhere. Man, this hit close to home. My children literally were walking in eggshells, not knowing when their mother and I would have a row, even when we tried not to fight in front of them, and the guilt they felt because somehow they believed they were the reason for these rows. The kids always think it's their fault, just because they don't know why it's happening. But they see daddy smile now, bet that's a big change for them. And stop doubting yourself if you were not a good parent. You would not be here asking for advice. This is a case of, I don't want him but he's happy. Now I want him back. How can he be happy without me? She expected you to be miserable and it didn't work. Choose to be happy. Your girlfriend is not a problem here. Tell her, you make me smile. Do you know how I longed for someone to look at me and smile and make me smile? Well, we found each other and I don't want it to change. Now for the update. Thanks everyone for the advice and suggestions. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of the support I got here. Here is my update, but before that, I want to address the elephant in the room, and that is that I have stepped on my toes with my bold statement about being divorced. I think the more expected and virtuous approach is to be devastated and guilt-ridden. My experience is something else, however, and I really tried to be genuine and honest here. Divorce is hard and terrifying. Many people, both men and women, hesitate and stay away longer than necessary because of one reason or another. I can't tell all unhappy people to get divorced since I don't know y'all's situation, but for those who can, do it. I was trying to explain what I have discovered. The positive side of having shared custody, because only the negative is talked about. I'm sure many divorced people get what I meant by having every other week child-free is awesome. We are humans with feelings. Our love for our children doesn't stop or take a break when they're out of sight. They don't need to be present for us to love and think about them. So I will double down and say that being a part-time parent is just awesome, no matter the gender. It is okay to feel that way. You are not a lesser parent for it. I've talked to my mother about what she did and she was very remorseful. Apparently, Dad has had a talk with her about this too. He was shocked at what she's done, and she seems to have realized the seriousness of what she's done. I took her apology, but I was firm on my boundaries, and that I didn't want her to be in my children's life for a while until I have sorted out their feelings and talked to them. She was reluctant to acknowledge. My girlfriend, however, I made it clear that after the children, she is my priority before myself, and definitely before her, Mom. So how much she wants to be in my life depends on how much she respects my life and the people I love. I've talked to my ex-wife too. Made it clear that under no circumstances is she ever to contact my girlfriend again. I told her that this was still a new relationship, and any contact is going to be with me. I told her that my girlfriend has nothing to do with my decision of divorce. I have no romantic feelings for her, my ex-wife, and that I know she doesn't have any feelings for me either. She just wants me out of convenience. I don't. She started crying and telling me that I didn't get to tell her what she's feeling. I agreed and apologized. I told her then I will only speak to my behalf. I want us to be friends and to raise our children to be the great people they're on the path to becoming. I don't want them to be used as pawns in the sick game she and the mothers are playing. I will not allow it and will do whatever it takes to protect them. I suggested that we can start family therapy because I needed her to understand the turmoil her and my mother put our children through. I never want that to happen again. She told me that she didn't want my girlfriend to be in their lives yet because she didn't know her. Fair enough, but I reminded her that our agreement is that when a relationship is serious, that's when we introduced our new partners to our children. And this is going to happen eventually, so she better get used to it. I also talked to her about me not going to take her workload on her weeks, meaning that I won't be dropping by every morning to wake up the children and take them to school. She will have to start waking up in the morning, like any other parent out there. About the food, I will still send home-cooked food with my children on the weeks they're with her, because I know that I can't demand her to cook, but at the same time, I don't want my children to eat junk food. About me mentioning that her home is a pigsty, I know that my eldest daughter has mentioned that it wasn't always pleasant at mommy's house, but again, now I don't live there to clean. I can't demand my ex to live in a way she doesn't want to. I have, however, offered that if Fridays my children go home to her to spend a week, I will send a cleaning service so the children have a somewhat clean environment. She agreed. She was angry about having to wake up early, however, because she usually starts work at 10 a.m. I guess she will have to adjust. About my girlfriend. We were supposed to spend a coming weekend together with the children, but I will respect my ex-wife's wishes. So for now at least, until we have gone to some sessions with the children, then I can bring it up again. She's spending the rest of this week with me, however. I know that she feels guilty. I have tried to explain that she has nothing to do with whatever happened and that she was dragged into this situation without any reason. Because with or without her, I would never go back to my old life. That I left this marriage before I even knew she existed. I don't know if she believed me or felt reassured. She just said that she loved me. I apologized to her and I will try to make her feel comfortable with me again. I guess this is one of those tests that relationships hit, and we shall see if our connection is strong enough to overcome this. I think it is. Wait, so ex doesn't cook for the kids or clean the house, and you go over in the mornings to get the kids ready for school, and she gets a week off to herself every other week? What's wrong with her? Sounds like depression, honestly. I've never really heard of anyone, parent or not, single or not, who didn't clean, didn't cook, and didn't wake up at reasonable times. At least when they knew they'd have obligations in the morning, who wasn't depressed, honestly. Got divorced. Ex-husband is thriving financially and romantically. Yep, she's depressed. What makes you think she's like this only after divorce? Everything seems to point to her always being like this. Why did you think he got out? OP literally says it was the same before. He was just there to do the cleaning, etc. They're bending over backwards to give a woman an excuse. Holy crap on a cracker. You've been going to her house every day to get the kids ready for school? No wonder she thought she still had reason to think she was still in control. Also, make sure the counselor understands that the point of the sessions are for post-divorce co-parenting. Do not let your ex try to make it a reconciliation. Show the counselor the videos and all the other shenanigans your ex and both mothers have done. You should also let your ex know that your own mother is on restriction because of their crap. Good luck. Also, if you've been going to the house every day to get them ready for school, you're selling yourself short, calling yourself a part-time parent. Agreed. OP is finally getting a more equal share of parenting, and he has space and time for himself. I experienced this too, and it could be easy to wallow in self-pity as a father. Not getting to be a father all the time, and it does hurt, but there isn't anything I can do to manufacture more time with my kids. So I may as well invest in myself and find ways to live my life as a person to its fullest. I hope OP's ex-wife can understand this someday as well. That she was dragged into this situation without any reason. Oh, there was a reason. It was a bad one, but there was a reason. Your ex and the moms had it in their head that if your girlfriend wasn't in the picture, you had no choice but to get back with your ex. They were, of course, 100% wrong, but that's not what their fantasy told them. It makes me happy to read that you've set them straight. Right? As if the girlfriend is gone, so are OP's feelings for her, and in some miraculous way, he will fall in love with ex again. Some people are just delusional. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that my son will always come before her? My 32 male wife, 30 female, is concerned over our financial situation. I think her concern is misplaced, but I told her my income isn't going to change anytime soon, so I asked her what she wanted we do about it. She suggested that when my son, her stepson, turns 18, we should start charging him rent. I immediately shut down that idea and told her we would have to think of something else, because there's no way I'm charging my son to live in our house. She said it was reasonable since I was paying most of his college tuition, but I told her there are alternatives. I suggested we stopped eating out so much because it's $50 to $100 per meal, but she didn't like that idea. I suggested other things which she rejected, so I told her I'm open to suggestions, but my son isn't going to be our source of income. She told me I should think more of her than my son, which made me a little mad. So I told her my son will always come before her. She called me an a-hole after that and hasn't talked to me since. Did I overstep? Now for the comments. You had a kid at 14, but not the a-hole. You did right by your son, and your current wife needs to adjust her attitude. Maybe look for a better job herself if she wants a higher income household. It wasn't planned, but yes. My mother helped raise him until I was ready to raise him independently. I was 15, even though that's not much better. Kudos to you and your mom for stepping up and putting your kid first. Don't ever stop doing it. Not the a-hole. If she can't cut out eating out so much, there's no way the next step is charge an 18-year-old rent. Is she working? Can she get a better job? She doesn't work. Problem solved. Wife, we can make the freeloader in this house get a job and help out with the finances. OP, great idea. What do you think you could do for work? Not the a-hole. I'd be suspicious if any parent thought of others before they thought of their children, even his spouse. It's great that you're able and willing to support your son. On the contrary, your wife sucks for rather having an 18-year-old student pay rent than skipping some restaurant visits. And OP's current wife doesn't work herself either. Which is hilarious that she expects an 18-year-old to hold down a job and complete his studies by the by. The entitlement.